Hi everyone. So we are going to have the last episode of Anyone Python season 1. So in this season, I know that most of students are taking Anyone Python season 1 as online, which means you are watching the video, recorded video. However, I believe that you learned a lot for the computer, also what is a computer programming language, and also you slightly taste the program language, the Python, with the help of Karel. So today I'd like to finalize the last episode with the kind of test, and I will give the 3 questions regarding to the Karel. Then you are going to solve the problem. So obviously, so because most of you are taking this as online, so you can solve by yourself as at home. Then you can check your answer with there's no general solution. So as long as you solve the problem, it's fine. But I will give just one example source code, then you can compare with my solution with your solution. Then you can see where is my problem, which one is better, like that. Then you can finally finalize the season 1. Then you are ready to learn about the Python program language in the next season. Okay, then before we start the Karel competition, Karel test, I'd like to summarize, wrap up what we have learned so far. So last time to switch the desktop screen share with my iPad. Oops. Let me share it again. Okay, so you are able to see my iPad. So we start let me change this for my convenience. And again. Okay, so first we start the Anyone Python with what? We install the Python program language. So what is a Python, by the way? So Python is the language between computer and the human being. So if you remember that I have used a rectangular shape to represent a computer. Then we have a user like us, like me, like you. Then we need something, the language in between computer and human being. Why? Because they are totally different. We are using something uh, biological things like the neuron and some muscle, but computer use only binary, 0 or 1, the binary. So what we are thinking is totally different from what computer is doing. So to do that, so to bridge the gap, we are going to use the computer program language. However, the computer program language is for human being. It's very close to our language, like the English, which means so this computer language is for us. It's a high-level language, which means we need to translate the language into computer language. It's a low-level language. Computer has the language. It's called actually assembly language, but it's very hard to understand. So we need to translate the computer language like the Python into such a computer program language, which is called the compiler, or sometimes it's called the interpreter. So our computer program language, Python, is the interpreter. Interpreter means it's a command by command, line by line translate. So that is the characteristic of the Python. So to use the Python, so we install such a Python interpreter, Python program language in episode 1. After that, so we have used what? We have used Karel. So Karel is actually the software program robot coded by what? It's actually Python. So by using Python, Stanford University, the creator named Karel robot. So main purpose of the using Karel is the Karel would like to help you and me to learn about the computer program languages, specifically it's a very basic level. Those who do not have any the idea, any background, any experience can start the program language with the help of Karel. So Karel basically play inside the Karel world. It's like the grid style. Then it has only the four function. So one is the move, another one is turn left, third one is the put beeper, and fourth one is the pick beeper. So using these four, the function, we can do a lot of things. So we learned about the program language. Okay, so you right now remember that. Then next, using Python program language, you can use any editor. You can use Notepad, you can use TextPad, you can use the line editor, but which is not easy for beginner to start the program language. So to address that problem, we have installed what? PyCharm. So PyCharm is not the Python program language. It's different. PyCharm is a software to help us to code like that. So plus that is a reason sometimes the PyCharm asks, where's the Python? Python interpreter. So Python is the interpreter, is a program language, and the PyCharm is a software to make the user easy to use Python. Without PyCharm, you can do the Python programming. However, without Python, you cannot do the Python programming. So this is required, but the PyCharm is really, really the useful software. So this is called the what? This is called the IDE. So integrated development environment. There are many, many different IDE. Like you probably heard about the Visual Studio or the Eclipse or Nepin. Those are the IDE for various program languages. Okay, very nice. So we decided to use the PyCharm for Python in this, the annual Python season 1. And mostly we are going to use the two pair for the further future season. Then we start the first Karel, the program. Do you remember the first Karel program? So it's like this shape. Then the Karel, the start here and the move, a pick beeper, move, and like that. At the time, the Karel program has three main parts, just like the normal the Python program. One is the top part, import. Import means we are going to use existing package, existing library, existing Python programming. We don't have to code everything. Instead, sometimes we can borrow the other guys, the programming, then we can easily code. For example, Karel is a computer programming robot. Somebody developed it. So then how can we use? So we import the Stanford.Karel. Then we can use Karel. Then the bottom part, there is a if __ name __ main, like that. So this is a code to start the program. To start what? So mostly it's called main, but so Karel uses slightly different way. So you don't have to touch this one. But the future, when you are doing the real Python program language, so you are going to use, or sometimes not many times you change this part, but this is a starting of the Python programming. Then what we have modified, added, and coded part is the main function. So basically, as I mentioned several times, Python has a bunch of the function. It starts from the function and with the function. For example, it starts with the main function. Main is the first function in Python application. Then finally end with exit. function. Exit is also the function. So it's always start with the function and with the function, and in between bunch of the function. So somebody said the knowing computer program language is knowing function. So you should be able to use existing function. Also, you can create your function using what? So we can create the function using DEF. But the Python programming, there are two most important parts. Two most important parts. Do you remember? One is, yes, it's a colon. So colon means next line, it will be code block. Code block means it's a set of command over here that will be executed sequentially, one by one. So this is a code block. Actually, other program languages use the parentheses like this to represent the code block. And sometimes you can use the like this. However, this will be very, very complicated. For example, Java, it's really hectic to find where it's starting the parentheses, where it's ending parentheses. So that is the reason Python decided to use the code block with the what? At this time, indentation. So indentation means it's the same, the space from the beginning. So Python use full space as an indentation. If you have the inside code block, you can have another level of the indentation. So indentation and the colon. Code block is the most important part of the Python programming. So it's really crucial, important when you start the Python program. We follow that. So okay, then we create the function. Basically, the coding programming is kind of the finding, define, and creating function. So how can we find the function? Anyone remember? So we don't want to create a really big function. Also, we don't want to create a very small part of the function. Instead, we are going to decompose. Decompose means it's like later we will see software engineering from top to bottom approach. So from the beginning, we are going to define the main task, like the collect the beeper, put beeper, and return home, like this one. Then this one will be several different functions. The collect the line of beeper and move to work, like this, and so on. So finally, we can create the function for this, function for this, function for this, function for this, function. Then that's it. So this is the decomposing to create the function, and it's also called the top to bottom, top-down approach in software engineering. Okay, so very nice. Then in Python program languages, just like the many other program languages, it provides to address problem of what? Do you remember computer really, really good for what? Repetition, repeated job. So however, human being like us, like you, we really don't want to do the same thing again and again and again. It's tedious and boring, and it's not accurate. But computer is really good for that. So there are two types of such as the repeated job. One is the while loop. Another one is the for loop. So for loop is like the for and element in collection, like the range, for example, and colon and code block. This is the for loop. Then, for example, I and range 3 and print and hello. How many times hello will be printed? 3 times. Range is a function, 1, 2, 3. But actually, the range creates 0, 1, 2. It's a 3 element. So I is a 0, then print. I is 1, print. I is 2, print. So 3 times printed. Don't forget, there should be indentation for space here. Then we can do the repeated job with the for loop. On the other hand, while loop is like you can do something until what? You can do this one until true. So we can use while. And then there is the test function. Yes. Then the colon. And we can put the code block here. Also same thing. It's space, 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 indentation, full space. And don't forget this. Then we can put the test function. Karel provides such a nice, several nice the test function. For example, front underscore is clear function. If this one is true, then do this one. So for example, the move. So we can the move. How many times? We don't know. But until front is clear. If block is a false, false means it's out of while loop, no more move. So then this is the function of what? Move to word that we create. So basically, rule of thumb is the for loop. If you know the target, how many times, what are the target, you can use the for loop. On the other hand, if you do not know how many times you did, but you know just the condition until what? Until end of year, until block, until open. So if you know this the test function condition, but you don't know how many times of target, then you can use the while loop. Using while loop, then you can save the lifetime. And also, we learned one more thing is fans post problem. Fans post problem means so you have the post, how many? 3 of them. And the fans, how many of them? 2 fences, which means when you build the fence, you have the 2 fans, but you need the 3 posts. Sometimes you need to learn one more time of this code block because of fence post problem. So always you should check this when you are using while loop. This is kind of idiom of coding. So people like the idiom to simplify, standardize coding style. Okay, so that is what we learned. And we have one more, the important, the syntax of the Python Karel. That is, do you remember that? If. So let me change the color. Okay. So that is if. If is a conditional state. If this one is true, go to this one. If this is not true, go to this one. So a lot of such the conditional statement we need when we are doing the programming. Why? Because the program language is for general solution. So what is the syntax? So we can, the if is very simple. So if and code block. So what will be the here? It's a test function, conditional statement. If this one is true, then do this. Otherwise means else. And you can do this code block like this. At this time, don't forget this. Don't forget this. This is the colon. Then followed by what? Code block. Yes. Then code block need 1, 2, 3, 4. Full space indentation. 1, 2, 3, 4. Full space. However, if you don't want, oops, we don't need this one. So if else is not required. So if we don't need, you don't have to. But the if statement is needed. Sometimes you need several conditions, different conditions. Like at that time, else, if, else, then here test. another test function. Then don't forget this. How many times? You can do the many times you want. Elif and elif. And test function and test function, code block, code block. But only one time, what? Else. Then code block, like this. One more thing, last thing. If, for example, this is not true, so we skip this part. But this one is not true, we skip this part. But this is true, so this part is true. True means you are going to perform this code block. And after you perform the last command of the code block, what happened? Does Karel need to check this? No. If condition is just one time. So if this one is satisfied, and go to the end of if, even not else. Okay, so this is the if conditional statement. So if you know the conditional statement, if you know the for loop and while loop, then most of the logical, the part of the program language are fine. So you are able to do the programming. Okay, then there are the several things we learned for better programmer. So better program languages. So one is when you are doing the program language. So basically, the programming is kind of defining and creating function. Then how you can create a function, and you can do the refinement. So we learned about the refinement. How can do the refinement? So we can the software engineering. So SE. There are two main parts of the software engineering, two methods. One is waterfall or top-down. Another one is a spiral. So spiral is like you can start from here and check you have a full test, start here and evaluate, start. Finally, you can complete your project. On the other hand, the waterfall is like you can start one task. Then once you are done, two tasks. Once you are done, three tasks. Number three, and finally you can done. This one, task one, task two, task three, and repeat it until you finish one. So this is called the refinement. Then last episode we learned about what? Yes, variable. So variable is not actually part of the Karel. Karel actually they're very simple. So the Karel does not like the such a variable. However, it is true. The variable is the key part of the programming because the variable is the storage. Storage for what? To store the data. So data is sometimes number and sometimes the string. So for the number, is you have the two integer or the float. On the other hand, the string is the string, the character. Okay, so then we learned about the two different naming rule. One is what? Snake case. So for example, Jeongkyu Lee is my name, and it's the separate by the underscore. We cannot use the space. Instead, we are going to use underscore. Then we can understand the meaning of this variable. On the other hand, there is another type of that is the camel. Camel is all what? The lowercase, but to represent the space, so we are going to use the uppercase, capital letter for the first word, first character of the second word. So which means if we change this one into the comma style, it will be like this. So this is the variable case. So you can use the whatever, but this one is more popular in Python programming. So snake case is much more popular than the comma style, but in Java Java likes the such a comment style. So you'd better follow the general rules of that. Okay, that is all the thing we have learned in this season. That means you are ready. So let me introduce the season one, the question. I'm going to introduce the 3 questions. Then after you finish the watching this video, solve the problem by yourself. Then I'm going to post the answer. Then you are able to, definitely your answer may be different from mine, which means that doesn't mean that your answer are wrong. No, as long as you're the program that satisfied with all the requirement, you are good. Okay, let me change the screen to this. I think that this one might be better. Okay, so the last episode is for the test, the Karel test. So here is the rule. So first, you are going to download the program. This program does not have the solution, only the skeleton. So first, the beta ly S01 Karel, K is capital letter, and the other are the lowercase. Then the S01 Karel, then you can download the Karel competition.zip file. Then save that file to the Anyone Python folder, like me. So let's see let me change the full screen. Yes, this one better. So I download the file. Yes, Karel, the competition zip file. You can unzip the file. So if you are using Windows, you already did. You can right click and double click and extract all. If we are using the Mac OS, MacBook, so you can see the unzip, or you can double click. So uncompress. Here I'm going to double click. Yes, the Karel competition. So there are 3 files, but obviously there are no solution on that. So you are going to fill out by the answer. So let's start the PyCharm. Then on your PyCharm, you are going to open, as we learned, from PyCharm, the working directory, project directory is the project. So we can go to the desktop and the Anyone Python, and then the Karel competition. Yes, this is a directory that I download. So you are going to download, uncompress, and create the PyCharm project. Then you will see this. Okay, very nice. So if you click the arrow, then you are able to see 3 files. And also, if the Python interpreter is not set, you need to set the Python interpreter, okay, in the configuration. If you already did in the episode 3, so it's fine. If not, please watch the episode 3 again, then set up the Python, the interpreter for your project. Okay, so then you are ready to start the Python test, the Karel test, or Karel competition. Okay, then we are going to move on the first problem. So this is a first problem. So our first problem is called endpoint counter. So endpoint counter is you are going to use a Karel to count how many the step you have. Then put the buffer, how many buffer? That the same as the number of the step. So Karel is in the top left corner of a square word, top left corner. So for example, like this, Karel is the top left corner. Then Karel need to make his way down to a staircase. First, way down staircase at the bottom left corner. So the Karel word always like the step like this. We don't know how many steps, but always a step like this. Okay. Then Karel is over here. So then first you need to make the Karel going down. Okay. Then he need place the same number of beepers on each step as there are blank space above Karel, which means you are going to eventually put the beeper. How many beeper? How many space over here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then put 5 beeper. Okay. So for example, 8 by 8 word, Karel must place a 7 beeper because it's 8 by 8 total 8 the column, but this is a stair, so you need to put the 7 beeper in the first. Okay. Then the stair up, this one automatically decrement by 1. So subtract 1. So it's gonna be 6 and 5. And you are going to put one last beeper than previous one. So you need to what? So this stair up, then put beepers. So until when? It's a block, no more stairs. So this is what you're gonna do. There are some assumptions. So Karel is first facing east at the beginning. So Karel is like this. So it's facing east. So you need to turn left, right. I don't know. You need to decide. Karel does not know the size of a word. It's not always 8 by 8 word. It can be 7 by 7. Even it can be what? So skewed one, like the 7 by 8 or the 5 by the 7, or it can be any size of a word, but it has always the stair. So Karel should work with a different size of a word. Okay, so let's see the example. So here. So this is a 8 by 8 word. So this is the Karel word, and the first, the Karel, when you start the program, Karel is located in top left corner like this. And also it's facing east. If you move, it will go to this way. So you need to turn left or right. It's up to you. Then move down. How many? 1, 2. So check the how many space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, total 7. When the Karel over here and put how many beeper? Here 7 beeper. And then the Karel step up. You can implement the step up function, right? So it's just a hint. And you can put the 1 less beeper than the previous one. So it's gonna be 6. Same thing, you can repeat. So you can put 5 beeper here. Then you can put 4 beepers here. And you can put 3 beepers here. And you can put 2 more beepers here and 1 beeper. If no more beeper, you don't have to put beeper. So this is the final expected output. Okay, because it's a block. So this is the first problem that you are going to solve. Okay, so what do you think? Is it easy? So let me, so end point beeper and run. And the point beeper. Then you will see this Karel's work. So if you run the program and then move down and put beeper, and so on. Then if you want to change the word, I provide one more. Okay. So you can go to the any anyone Python, Karel competition, and Word. And you can see the end point, another one here. So this is a smaller one, smaller version. It's a 5 by 5. So then your program should work different one. Okay, very nice. Next. So what do you think? Is it difficult? No. So always think about what are the requirements, what are the assumptions. Okay, then the next thing is, what you're gonna do is, what will be the high level task? As we have done in refinement, as top-down approach, you are going to define the function, then solve one small function, then build up. So this is what you're gonna do in your problem solving project. Okay, very nice. Then next question. Next question is much more interesting and very little bit challenging. So this is called the collect newspaper Karel. So at present, your job is in the assignment. In this assignment is to add the necessary code to instruct Karel to work to the door of each house. What kind of door? What kind of house? So let me show you in advance. So this is Karel work. Okay, as you can see. Then this is the Karel's house. Karel's house. Yes, very nice house. Then the Karel is always top left corner facing east, like this. So this is the Karel's, I think the bedroom. Then always sleep like this. Then in the morning, wake up. The Karel wakes up. Then the first job what he need to do is going to the door. This door is open. So this is door. Then there is always the newspaper. Using the beeper. This is obviously the beeper, but we regard this beeper as the newspaper. So what Karel needs to do is pick up the newspaper, then get back to where? The original position, which is top left corner. This is the bedroom. So once the Karel is done, so it's like this one. Okay, so this is the newspaper. The Karel. What do you think? Collect the newspaper. So let's go back to the question again. So Karel to walk to the door of each house, pick up the newspaper, represented by the beeper, okay? And then the return to its initial position in the upper left corner of the house, okay? There are several assumptions, so you need to consider. Karel is located at top left corner at the beginning, facing east. Okay, so that's what I explained. Karel is facing east the beginning. Karel's room size is the same always. So 3 by 3. Okay. However, this is important. However, door may be different, either east, west, south, north. So default program is east, but it can be west. Your program should work no matter where door is. Okay. So for example, in this case, the north the door is like this, west door is like this, south door is like this. So the program should be able to pick up the newspaper at any kinds of door. Okay. Do I know? No. Karel does not know where is the door. Door may be different every morning. So that is the key part of the newspaper Karel. So you are going to the code that makes the Karel pick up a newspaper, pick up beeper at any kind of door. Okay, so that Karel does not know the location of the word. I mean the door. Okay, so can you do that? It's a little bit tricky, but it's very, very interesting. So why don't you think about how you can make the general solution to make the Carol pick up the newspaper. Okay. So let me show you the example of the collect newspaper over here. Then run the program. So it's like this one. So Carol is waking up right now, but he doesn't know where is the door. Okay, so your program should pick up the beeper, which means newspaper, then get back to the original position. Okay, then let me show you the different kind of door. So like the north is like this one, and the west is like this one. Oh, this is the south, and then west is like this. So your program should work at any types of door, any kind of door. Okay, so very nice. And third one is the stonemason carol. So stonemason carol. So first I'm going to show you the map. It's like this. This is what? This is Paul, and this is a castle. But unfortunately, there were earthquakes, so it's damaged. So what you're gonna do is make the perfect, fix the problem. So you are stonemason. So you are going to fix this one. So then, Carol is to repair a set of arch where some of the stone represented by beeper, obviously beeper, are missing. Okay, as you can see over here. So some of the stone are missing. Okay, and here missing, here also missing, here missing, like this. Okay, what you want to do is like the fixing. So fill up, put beeper where the missing spot. Okay, so when Carol is done, the missing stones in the column should be replaced by beepers. Yes, that's true. So I understand. So that the final picture resulting from the word shown above would look like the next pages, like this one. Okay, so this is what you're gonna do. Then, how can you do that? Always refinement, top-down approach. For example, let me give you a hint. So to do that, Carol is moving left to right, west to east. If there is, so you don't know whether there is supposed to the door or not. So we need to check the assumption. So Carol is located at bottom left, facing east, always corner at the beginning. Carol should walk on the word shown above, but it should be general enough to handle any word, which means this time how many arch? 3 arches. And how many pore? 1, 2, 3, 4 pores. However, it can be any size of arch, any size of pore. Okay. The columns are exactly 4 units apart. Ah, I see. So for example, here, this one is the first, the column. And this one is the 5th column. This one is the 9th column. This one is 13th column. So which means once you fix the 1 pore, 1 column, then how many move? 1, 2, 3, 4 moves so late. Then do it this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then fix this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Until when? You need to check whether this is end or not. How? You can use the front is clear, right? So then this is the 1 arch, and second, third, like that. So always 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the 5th one is a pore. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th one, pore. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5th one, pore, like that column. So then we are able to solve the problem. Okay, so Carol does not know the height of column. Oh, I see. So height may be different, not always 5. It can be 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But that means we are able to use what? Eventually, while. Very nice. So how can you, this is the, I think the among three, the most difficult part. How can you solve the problem? First think about, we have the similar questions before during the refinement. Do you remember that? So we are going to pick up one line of that. So first, your job is moving left to right. So here west to east. So here to here. Until when? Until front is clear. If blocked, it should stop. Then you need to implement 1, 2, 3, 4 move and do something. 1, 2, 3, 4, do something. 1, 2, 3, 4, do something. Then what you're gonna do is just implement a do something. When if there is, so yes, so every 1, 2, 3, 4 move, then you need to fix that problem. Okay, then you don't know how many of them, so you can just the 1, 2, 3, 4 and fix. Okay, then how can you fix it? You can turn left and move until when? Front is clear, right? Then we have learned what? If no beeper, then put beeper. Yes, you don't have to just move like that. Then you are able to fix. Then once you reach end of the ceiling, then turn around. Next thing is you already did, move toward like this. It's very nice hint. So finally you are able to fix the problem. Then your final output should be like this. Okay. Then let's see the example. So you can click stonemason, the Karel. Obviously, there's no code over here. When after you download, you need to delete the path, then put your code. Okay, so then run the program. Yes, it's very nice Karel word. Okay, so what you're gonna do is that you are going to add a code and run the program. If you run the program, Karel is moving to the top, and while Karel is moving, Karel put beeper if there is no beeper, which means it's a problem by the worst quit. Okay, then fix this, fix this, fix this, and end on the top right corner. If you want to test your program, so it can be different height and different size of but it should be always 1, 5, 9, 13, and 17, 21 like that. So you can check the other types of work. So you can stonemason Karel 1. Wow, it's different, but as you can see, it's what? 1, always 1, move. How many times move? 4 times of move. So that you can see that is 1, 2, 3, 4. But there's no all the column is a collapse. So you need to fix like this. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and you need to fix like this. Okay, then one more. We'll see the one more example here. Okay, so this is the one. So you can see 1, 5, 9. What if there is a beeper? You cannot go over the wall, so you cannot fix this one. Even though there is the beeper, you should ignore because your program cannot go over past the wall. So then you need to go back to the position after you fill up this. Okay, very nice. So this is the 3 problem. Okay, so the most difficult the problem among 3 are the obviously the last one, and the easiest one is the first one. But to solve the problem of the first one, you should use the variable. So it is okay to use the variable for first one, but the second, third, you don't have to use any variable. So you don't have to use the variable for second and third problem. And so I think that you are able to solve the problem. I'm going to post the solution, simple solution. So the next week. So, but meanwhile, you are going to solve the problem. So you can download the problem, okay, from this link, or you can download the code, this one, from the bit.ly s0, this is a 0, 1, Karel. So after you download, the unzip, uncompress, then save create the Python project like this, then you can start the code. Okay, so I think pretty much done. I delivered all I prepared. I really appreciate to participate in the Anyone Python Season 1. I think that you probably learned some basic introduction to the computer programming with the help of Karel. This is just the beginning. This is just a start. There are a bunch of other things, and which is very fun. You can enjoy, and sometimes it's a little bit tough and difficult, but you are able to overcome such a thing. So after you finish the season 1, the Anyone Python, the next one will be the Python programming. However, before that, sometimes there are several utilities that you need to know when you start the program language. So to start your main Python program language, like for example, how to install the other package. Somebody say the machine learning package, how do I install? So I'm going to introduce the pip and the command line interface that can make you easy to start the Python programming. So if you are interested in further the Python program languages, so you can find this Anyone Python Season 2 and 3 and so on. Thanks so much. I'm going to end it. This is the last one. Thank you.